Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We are back with another United Daily Live, and we're here with all the latest Manchester United news, including reports today that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has his doubts over Victor Lindelof at the heart of Manchester United's defence and could be looking to bring somebody else in to offer the Swede a little bit of competition at the heart of that defence. We have, of course, got the likes of Axel Tuanzebe and Eric Bailly as well at the club, and I'm thinking we could maybe replace him from within the team, but we will have that debate here today on AdamMcKola TV, and we'll look at those reports in relation to Victor Lindelof potentially dropping down the pecking order at Manchester United. And would that make him want to leave the club? Would he want to leave if he wasn't first choice? Who knows? But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may have some doubt over the future of Victor Lindelof in our defence. We'll also be looking at the top 50 of teenage talents and how Manchester United have 3 of the top 50 and could potentially have 4 of the top 50 at the end of the transfer window. Wonder if you guys can guess who the 3 teams from Manchester United that are in that top 50. We all know Mason Greenwood's obviously going to be one of them, but who are the other 2 from Manchester United that are in that top 50? Can you get your guesses in on AdamMcKola TV? Or you may have read the article or the top 50 a little bit earlier on today and you might already know who's in that. But let us know in the comments below who you think those other 2 Manchester United players are that have joined Mason Greenwood, who is 3rd in the top 50 teenagers in world football. He should be 1 in my opinion, but he's 3rd. Let us know if you can guess who is in there. Now, someone said Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams is not in the top 50. So you'll have to have another guess. Ross Murphy says Chong. No. So you'll have to have another guess, and we'll come to that top 50 a little bit later. We'll look at the reports that Real Madrid are potentially out of the race for Paul Pogba, which has provided a little bit of a boost for Juventus, but more of a boost probably for Manchester United. And the Herrera's quotes are still floating about, and whatever floats your boat, we will talk about here. Nimai is back in the house. Morning, mate. Neil says Angel Gomez. Kush says Angel Gomez. Nope, Angel Gomez isn't in there. Williams and Gomez. Daniel James, nope. It's teens talent, yeah, teen talents. Danny James is over 20. Medjbury and Garner, says Aaron Braz, and he has got it. Michael Jones got one of them. He said Garner, but it is Hannibal Medjbury and James Garner who are the other 2 Manchester United teen players in that top 50. So we will be looking at the rest of that top 50. Arsenal have a few reps, and there's one that United could be signing in the summer as well as everything else in this. But first things first, let's look at this report from ESPN in regards to Victor Lindelof. So the story starts with Lindelof. Doubts make Manchester United look at centre-backs. Manchester United are open to adding a centre-back to their squad in the next transfer window to provide more competition for Victor Lindelof, sources have told ESPN. Club captain Harry Maguire is manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice. But there are concerns about Lindelof's form after the Sweden international endured a mixed campaign. It was mixed because he was very good at times and he was pretty bad at times as well. He wasn't always poor, and I think he does have some quality within him. Solskjaer is intent on strengthening his attacking ahead of next season and will be back in the transfer market despite concerns about how the ongoing coronavirus pandemic will affect the club's finances. But while the focus remains on bringing in a striker, possibly Igalo, possibly someone else, and a winger, intermediaries and agents have not been discouraged from pitching centre-back targets to the club. Lindelof will stay at Old Trafford after signing a new long-term contract in September, but inquiries have been made about other defenders, including 21-year-old Real Valladolid centre-back Mohamed Salisu. Now, loads of you guys often mention this fella's name in the comments. Juan Mata's dad is his agent, I believe, and he's been linked with Manchester United in recent weeks. Now, that's a centre-half signing that would come in. It wouldn't be at a huge fee, and he probably wouldn't be demanded to start every single game. And that's the kind of signing I can see us getting at centre-half. I can't see us getting this kind of signing at centre-half, which would see Kalidou Koulibaly or someone like that Mattis, De Ligt, the players that we've been linked with before coming in. I can't see being seen that level of signing. Maybe a Mohamed Salisu who will come in at a little bit cheaper than that and will be able to come in and provide competition. But in terms of replacing everything, I'm not too sure about that one. And going all out with a main man at centre half, I don't think we're going to do that at all. Well, hello there says would love Salisu. Honestly, a disgrace that Mason Greenwood isn't top of that list, says Jedgeman. I can't see us spending big money on getting a defender, especially when we want a winger and a midfielder, says Akbar. And Tom says Twanzebe needs another run in this team. And I totally agree with that. United have triggered a 2-year extension in Eric Bailly's contract, and Solskjaer is keen to continue to promote academy graduate Axel Twanzebe. This article goes on. Rojo and Smalling are out on loan at Estudiantes and Roma respectively, while Phil Jones has been restricted to just 2 Premier League appearances this season. Phil Jones probably going to be on his way out. Chris Smalling likely going to be on his way out permanently. Marcus Rojo too. United will probably need to bring in a centre-half to replace all of those going out. I believe, and I agree with what Tom said, Axel Twanzebe needs another run in the team. And I genuinely feel, even if we sign, let's say, a Mohamed Salisu, his most fierce competition is going to come from the players that we've already got here. If the likes of Eric Bailly can stay fit, if Axel Twanzebe, look, he was about to start against Liverpool. Ollie doesn't do that unless he has faith in him. He was about to start against Liverpool. He got injured. He didn't. Now, injuries are an issue. If you're always going to be injured, you're not going to get a chance to play for United and develop and fulfill your potential. But if Axel can be fit next season, and Ollie's having doubts over Victor Lindelof, and I've said it as well, I didn't think Victor Lindelof was great this season. I didn't think Harry Maguire was great for the whole season up until he got the captain's armband. And then when he got the captain's armband, he was a lot better. But for me, Victor Lindelof was poor with the ball at his feet. He made a fair few mistakes. And he was really nervy on the ball. And when we were looking to break a lot of time, he would slow that break down by losing the ball or passing the ball out of play. Now, that's not to say he was completely bad all the time, because he wasn't. But nevertheless, I can see why we'd look to replace him in the first 11. And I genuinely feel, in Eric Bailly, Axel Twanzebe, we have 2 centre-halves that could replace Victor Lindelof without even needing to sign one. So signing another one would make sense if Jones, Smalling and Rojo left, because then you're down to what? 4 centre-backs. You need at least another one, because if 1 or 2 get injured, you're fucked. So, yeah, I'm all for United signing a centre-half if they need to, if they think it's worthy, especially if Smalling, Rojo and Jones leave. But Axel Twanzebe, Eric Bailly, in my opinion, they're better than Victor Lindelof, or they can be better than Victor Lindelof. Or Victor Lindelof can improve as well. This isn't Victor Lindelof's top level. We know he can play better than this. So that challenge from Bailly and Twanzebe will either bring a better Victor Lindelof out, or it will bring a better centre-half to the table and bring a better centre-half to the first team in Axel or in Bailly. Excuse me. Can we get Vidic back, says Dig Vijay. I think it's a myth that Vidic was United's best defender. He wasn't even better than Real. Wasn't even better than Real in my opinion. But each to their own. It is not to replace, read the article, it said for Lindelof to have competition. And that's what I said, mate. Competition, and to replace him in the first team. I didn't say replace him in the team. Replace him in the first 11. Because if you've got doubts over someone, then you think you can improve on them in the first 11. You might not think, I'm going to get rid of this fella. But you might think, actually, unless you don't improve, we need better for the first 11. And I think that's bang on. Alex McDonald says a fit Bailly has the potential to be better than Maguire. Alex, I agree with you. So it's not just your opinion, it's my opinion as well. I totally agree with you. Sammy says Ibrahim Kanate greater than Salisu. Yes, Glenn says great minds and all that. Stam is United's best defender. Possibly Stam was Rio and Vidic rolled into one cush. But I gotta say, with Rio having the longevity, I'd have to say Rio Ferdinand. Longevity at United, not in their careers. I know Jaap Stam did great things at AC Milan and that. I mean longevity at United. I'd personally bring Axel in when we played 3 at the back to start off with to ease him in, says the Blur. Bailly's fit is our best defender, says Ross. Maguire shipped 51 goals at Leicester, and look at them now. You need 2 replacements, surely. Disagree with that. I disagree with Soyuncu getting Team of the Year, actually. He was fantastic at the start. But I think he almost got it just because he wasn't Harry Maguire. And he wasn't the one that moved to United. There's a lot of better centre-halves in the league. And actually, Maguire was a lot better when he got the armband and settled a little bit into Manchester United. So I disagree with that. We don't need a centre-back. We need a defensive mid and right wing. In my opinion, we need a right winger. We need a defensive midfielder. But also, Rojo, Smalling and Jones leave. We need a centre-half. Unless you're going to give Tedam Mengi or someone from the 23s or the under 18s an opportunity in the first team as your backup, as your rotation, you're going to need to bring someone in. Now, it may be that you can agree a deal with Real Valladolid for Salisu for, fairly cheap. Bring him in, and you never know what can happen. You look at what Gary Neville was saying, and he was saying he wasn't really confident of United challenging for the league next season. But now that this is going on, United could possibly take advantage of a few clubs and grab a few players that they maybe wouldn't have been able to. Now, if you look at Salisu and Valladolid, those kind of teams are the ones that are going to be more affected. Of course, you're hearing Real Madrid can't get Pogba anymore, because they haven't got the funds to do that. They are being affected by the coronavirus pandemic. But these clubs further down those tables will be more affected. And their top talents will then be able to be picked off for a lot cheaper. And you're talking 20, 30 million here and there. And if you could pick up 3-4 players for that fee from teams like this, you're going to be able to build a fairly decent team cheaply. And if United see that there's a number of opportunities out there whereby we could spend more this summer, and that means we spend a whole lot less next summer, I think the club would probably end up doing that. If, Ollie, let's say, perfect scenario, touch wood, we signed Jadon Sancho for 120 million euros, yeah? We signed AdamMcKola for about 15-20 mil, yeah? So we've spent about 120 million pounds, yeah? Altogether, roughly. Let's say we sold Smalling for 20 mil. We sold Jones for 10. We sold Rojo for 5. That's 35 mil. So now we've got a net spend of 85 million. Right. The club may now think, okay, we probably wouldn't have usually signed any players, but they might make an extra 50 million pound available so they don't have to spend an extra 100 million pound over the next 2 windows because of the fact players that will become available on the market, or clubs will weaken their stance around players and you'll be able to just pick them off. So that is a possibility, but I'm still not overly confident that we'll get more than 2 or 3 signings, including AdamMcKola. I just don't expect that at all. Guys, get hitting that like button, get commenting, get sharing, get subscribing to AdamMcKola TV. Thank you to Alex David Burton, who has become the latest member on AdamMcKola TV. Thank you very much to him for joining. I think he joined last night. I didn't see the notification until this morning. So thank you very much to him for joining. If you want to join, click that join button. You'll find out more information. You can also get stuff like this on the channel now. Viva Regalo stuff with a little fancy design there. Home and away gear is available somewhere around here. And there's loads going on the channel. We've got daily content every single day. We have United Daily. On Monday, we have the Premier League Gazette as well. Tuesday, you have the Rumour. Wednesday, you have Master Debaters. Thursday, Weekly United. Friday, Straight Up MUFC. Saturday, FIFA or Football Manager content. And Sunday, McKola and Howson's Pod to Nowhere. So you get at least 14 videos in a week. And then I do extra stuff like Future United 11, tier lists, all that kind of stuff get added into the mix as well. My next tier list is going to be on transfers, so that one should be a good one. We'll be taking loads of players that we've been linked with and putting them into a tier list of likelihood. But that's what's going on the channel so much at the moment. And then if you join the membership, you're helping support the growth of the channel. You're helping the channel get bigger, faster, and me be able to do more things, make more entertaining content. You get exclusive content as well, once monthly. You get emojis and avatars and chats for the chat and things like that. You can join the Discord. You can get involved on Q&As, easier getting your questions in. And also when we have player interviews like with Kiko Makeda, you can ask them your questions as well. So if you fancy checking it out like Mark, like Glenn did, and like a few others do with the logo next to them. But guys, enough of that for now. We are now going into the top 50 teenagers in the world. And before we actually do that, we have got a new member, Ketan Ramesh. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate your support. After we're finished here, head over to the community section, look for the members only posts. You'll find the Discord link. If it's expired, let me know. And you'll also find the latest members video as well and all the other stuff that's going on. So thank you very much for your support, Keaton. Appreciate that. Let's get stuck into the top 50 teenagers. Number 1 is Rayan Cherki of Lyon. Mason Greenwood should be number 1. Sorry. Eduardo Camavinga, fantastic player, fantastic talent from Rennes. He's number 2. But sorry, Mason Greenwood should be number 1. Mason Greenwood is a striker, a goal scorer, and he's younger than these two. Why isn't he number 1? Why? Don't make sense. Mohamed Iatarian of PSV is 4th. Rodrigo is 5th of Real Madrid. Martinelli of Arsenal 6th. Renier of Real Madrid is 7th. Ansu Fati 8th. Bukayo Saka and William Saliba are 9th and 10th. Arsenal get a few players in there. 11th is Billy Gilmour. Ow, I don't know how Billy Gilmour's been on the scene for about 2 seconds. Jude Bellingham's at 14th. João Pedro, the striker at Watford, is 26th. Man City's Eric Garcia is 18th. Fabio Silva of Porto is 22. Anyone else? United players, as I said, Hannibal Mejbri is 33 on that list. 33. And James Garner is number 35. Yes. Sorry, Mason Greenwood isn't younger than Camavinga or Cherki. I got that one wrong. I read something wrong. But nevertheless, he is number 3. And we've also got Hannibal Mejbri and James Garner in there as well. Now Camavinga's one that I can understand being ahead of him. Mason Greenwood is massively rated, but I thought Mason Greenwood should have been number 1. 12 goals in a season, most for any striker in their breakthrough season, and he didn't even get to complete the campaign, did he? Did he? No. So for me, Mason Greenwood should be there. Bellingham should be definitely in the top 10. And that's what I was saying. United have 3 of the top 50, but we could have 4 of the top 50 by the end of the transfer window. I think it's been open, knowledge that United are after Jude Bellingham. I think that's been pretty clear. And I think, if we can get a deal done for him, we've got a massively talented player on our hands. Another one again, 16 years old, coming through, world at his feet. If you can snap him up for probably a little bit cheaper this summer, because of the fact that, Blues might need the cash a little bit more. So you have that there as well. What's this list? It's the top 50 teenage footballers in the world, apparently. Yes, Man United Caribbean, how you doing? Surprised Brandon Williams isn't in the top 50, says Ross. Mejbri 33rd, and is the only lad on the list who's never even trained with his first team squad. Shows just how talented he is. Little bit of a correction there for you, Al, my mate. He has trained with the first team squad, and he's made a lot of them look very silly. So, you've got to say, fair play to him. I don't think Mark Gerardo was in that list. No, Jimmy Havitt. Let's have a look. Mark Gerardo. It's in a few. Should have actually looked when I had the list up, shouldn't I? No, it don't look like he's in that list at all. Yeah. Apparently we've agreed terms with Mark Gerardo, young fullback from Barcelona, highly rated, 16-year-old, has come through the ranks there at La Masia. They want him to sign a new deal. They've offered him a new deal 3 times, to which he's knocked it back. and now he could be on the way to Manchester United, or at least that's what reports are saying in Catalan media. So Marc Jurado, Joe Hugill could be 2 signings United make when all this pandemic stuff's over and when transfers and things like that can be announced, for absolute bargains. And again, we've got 3 of the top 50 teams. We've got other players coming through that we know have quality and have ability and could potentially go on and challenge. You look at Brandon Williams, you look at, you know, those kind of players in the first team, and you got further down Dylan Levitt, etc., Mengi, all these guys. We've got very good talent in that academy, and we're adding to it. We're getting players from potentially Barcelona, Sunderland, strikers, fullbacks, bringing them in, adding them to the talent that we have, and creating a hotbed of academy football talent. And they're only going to help each other improve. Yes, you can develop your own and get yours from your local area and stuff, but then you also have to look elsewhere. Where's the other talent? That's how we got Paul Pogba from Le Havre. We got Fabio and Rafael from over in Brazil. You know, we've signed players like that all the time. Giuseppe Rossi, Kiko Makeda, just going abroad and picking up a talent here and there. Now, they may not do it. They may not become the player you want them to be, but it's a very low risk situation. You know, for someone like Joe Hugill, Marc Jurado, we bring him in for nominal fees. You know, we bring him into the academy, we develop them. They either become players that play for your first team and you've got bargains, or you sell them on in a few years and you make more than your money back anyway, or you make a little bit of profit just because now these players have been trained in the confines of Man United and there's a little bit more value attached to that. So it's a no-risk situation for United with these youngsters, and I think it's a fantastic, fantastic bit of business, and it's fantastic signs for United if these moves are going ahead, because it shows we're forward thinking. It shows that we're trying to get things done, and fingers crossed we continue to carry on like that and get business done for the first team as well, because we need to get a few deals done this summer. Now, Gary Neville's comments were interesting. I don't think we'll get 4 or 5 signings. I'm very sceptical. I hope I'm proven wrong, but I'm very sceptical. Rodrigo Possebon, says Al Harrington. What a miss. Rodrigo Possebon was absolutely fantastic talent. Got snapped by Pogatetz. Was never really seen again. It didn't go to plan for him after that, did it? Poor fella. Yeah, Medjbri, Garner and Greenwood for you guys that missed the 3 United team talents in the top 50 in the world. Guys, if you're in the house, make sure you're hitting that like button, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining if you can. And of course, keeping it locked to AdamMcKola TV. Remember, we have daily content on the channel every single day. And we'll have another video up for you guys later on today, probably about 8 PM. We'll have the Football Manager first episode going out, so make sure you're keeping it locked for that. Anything else we can talk about today? Let me jump into the news right here. Any questions you got, get them in the comments as well. Tomorrow we got the Pod to Nowhere. Members, there's a post in the community section, or you can head over to Discord and hashtag them with Pod to Nowhere. But get your questions in for the Pod to Nowhere tomorrow, and we'll try and get as many into the show as possible for me and Steve. That's at 8 PM tomorrow. Just bringing up the news. Manchester United are making the right decision regarding Dean Henderson. That's another one that is in regards to us letting him go back to Sheffield United to complete another year on loan. Manchester United made thrust to sign forward a few weeks ago, say Sport Witness. Offer surpassed other clubs, but the player rejected the move. And that is Inter Milan striker Lautaro Martinez has turned down a chance to join Man United with his heart set on a move to Barcelona. That's according to Sport in the Catalan press. Now, the Argentine striker has been in red-hot form, 16 goals in 31 games. Europe's major clubs have all been linked with making a move as a result, including United, who were thought to be willing to offer him big money to come to United. However, according to Sport, they have already seen their efforts dismissed by the player as he has desired a move to the new camp instead. Reports that United seemed willing to pay Martinez's 111 million release clause and made a thrust for his signature a few weeks ago. After receiving approval from Inter Milan, they spoke with the striker's environment, but he declined the offer, with his agents feeling that he may not adapt well to English football, despite the fact it surpassed the offer from Barcelona. So it looks like this fella, if you believe the Spanish press, is wanting to sign for Barcelona ahead of Manchester United. Interested, nevertheless. But that's one of the reports that's coming out in Spain. Busby says, Adam, thing is, I can see Iceman being a perfect replacement for PK, but he's not good enough for us. Weird, no? Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? He's been linked with Barcelona a number of times, hasn't he? And I wouldn't be surprised to see them make the move, but then their transfer policy has been a little bit weird recently. Neville tells the Football Show, I feel a little bit more confident in United's ability to challenge next season just because of what's happened and the fact they started to play a lot better before this lockdown. He feels United are in a very strong position in this summer transfer window to give them a better chance of mounting a league challenge next season. But he also said in a conversation with me last year that we'd win the league before Liverpool. Still could happen, to be fair, but probably not. Neville compared United's situation with the wage deferrals taken on by some of Europe's biggest clubs as the coronavirus has taken hold of football worldwide, where players at the likes of Barcelona and Juventus have delayed their wages to help their clubs deal with the financial impact of the pandemic. Juventus ain't buying fucking Pogba. At Old Trafford, however, players are still receiving their full income, while non-playing staff have also not been furloughed. Neville believes the financial position of his former club will give them a significant advantage in attracting the kind of talent that they need to mount a title challenge in the next season's Premier League. If we haven't had this virus, I think United could have been 2 or 3 years away, Gary Neville said. Where I think there is a massive change in making them competitive is if you're a top player in Europe at this moment in time and you had the choice of Real, Barca, Juve, Liverpool, City, all those clubs, United would likely lose out on those players because of where they are in the cycle of the team. I think now, out of those 8 clubs, I think 6 of them could be completely redundant in the transfer market. In terms of spending 60, 80 million, United's ability will still be there. United still need to add a few players of real high quality, and they are in a position to be able to capitalise this summer in the transfer market. They'll be one of the football clubs who still has some ability to do some business, and whereas in the past they found it difficult to keep price and wages down in the past 8 years, they'll be in a very strong position to hold their nerve this summer. It's a really important summer for Man United. If football can get back in the next few weeks, United can get back to how they were pre-lockdown, starting to keep clean sheets, the midfield looking like it was starting to tick and getting goals out of that front three. You start looking at the glass being half full versus it being half empty, and being the 30 points or whatever off Liverpool and the fact they're a million miles away. So I don't know why it is, but I feel a little bit more confident in United's ability to challenge next season just because of what's happened and the fact they started to play a lot better before this lockdown. He also spoke about Pogba, and he thinks that he says which clubs are going to be paying huge wages on at United. I'm not diminishing him as a player. I'm just talking about the economic situation the whole world finds itself in, and that is bang on. So there you go. Glenn, who wrote the list? 1 second, mate. I'll get that up for you again. Football Talent Scout, whoever that is, they wrote it. They've compiled the top 50. So there you go. Sorry, mate, I've missed your comments. Ruvez has missed 27 minutes. No worries, mate. But at least you're here now. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can rewind the whole thing and go back or pull it up, as the DJs would say. Pull up. You can pull it up. How much do you think you might be willing to pay for Sancho? 120 million euros. I think we'll get him as well for that much. I don't think Borussia Dortmund are going to start playing so hardball. Do you think Dortmund are trying to get more money by saying they believe Sancho is staying? Says Aaron. Yeah, and United have probably briefed that they're not going to make any sign, or they're going to wait a year as well, just so that Dortmund think, fucking hell, what's going on here? So yeah. Pogba's still our best player, says really man. David, how you doing, mate? Did you see Dybala's quotes about how he wants to play with Pogba and Love? Well, he could have signed for us last year and he didn't, so go fuck himself. Dybala ain't coming to United. That one just isn't happening. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in to AdamMcKola TV today. You've been absolute legends. This has been United Daily Live. We will be back with another show later on today. It's the Football Manager episode 1. Myself in charge of Manchester United. Where will it take us? Who knows? Make sure you're heading back for that later on this evening around 8 o'clock. But until then, I've been AdamMcKola. You lot have been legends. And in the words of David Vujicic, have a nice.